All right, so it is story time at AgWorks, and I am Hannah, here to read to you From Seed to Plant by Gail Gibbons. It's a great book, teaching a lot about seeds and plants, and you might notice some things that you've seen before. So, from seed to plant. Most plants make seeds. A seed contains the beginning of a new plant. And there are lots of different plants here: corn and buttercups, peas, roses, daisies, tulips. What's over here? Tomatoes and squash and violet. Seeds are different shapes, sizes, and colors. All seeds grow into the same kind of plant that made them. So we have an example of a sunflower seed in the flower, an oak tree, and an acorn. Many plants grow flowers. Flowers are where most seeds begin. And again, we have some examples of different flowers: asters and dandelions, zinnias, and apple trees. A flower is made up of many parts. There is the stem, which we might already be familiar with, but there are sepals that kind of look like leaves. There is the pistil, which is the center of the flower. And on top of the pistil is the stigma. It's the sticky part at the top. And at the bottom of the pistil are tiny egg cells called ovules. All around there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this picture, are the stamens. They're the part of the flower that surround the stamen. And then they make yellow powder called pollen. And then the part that everybody's probably most familiar with would be those petals, right? The colorful parts of flowers. Now, before a seed can begin to grow, a grain of pollen from the stamen must land on the stigma at the top of the pistil of a flower like itself. This is called pollination. So the pollen's on the pistils here, and it has to make its way to that part there, the stigma at the top, for pollination to occur. Pollination happens in different ways. Often wind blows pollen from flower to flower. Bees, other insects, and hummingbirds help pollinate too. While they visit flowers for their sweet juice called nectar, pollen rubs onto their bodies. So in the picture, you can sort of see the bumblebee's got some pollen on its tummy, and there on the hummingbird, it has some pollen there. Then they carry the pollen to another flower where it comes off onto the pistil. So as they're flying and searching for nectar, they come to a new flower, and right where it was on their body rubs off onto the next flower. If a pollen grain from a flower lands on the pistil of the same kind of flower, it grows a long tube through the pistil into an ovule. This is the beginning of a seed. So the pollen lands at the top, and it makes a tube all the way down to the center of that flower, to the ovule. The seeds grow inside the flower, even as the flower begins to die. As the seeds become bigger, a fruit or pod grows around them. The fruit or pod protects the seeds. So there's fruit inside of that flower. There's a pod. Kind of looks like maybe a vegetable you've eaten before. When the fruit or pod ripens, it breaks open. The seeds are ready to become new plants. So this one looks like it's dead, right? It's brown and it pops open. It has slits there, but then there's the pea pod there. Some seeds fall to the ground around the base of the plant, where they will grow. Some pods or fruits open and the seeds pop out. Sometimes when birds eat berries, they drop the seeds. Other seeds fall into streams, ponds, rivers, or the ocean. There they travel on the water until they stick to dirt along a shore. And in the picture, we see an example of different stages of the life of a seed in a plant. A coconut, right? There's a coconut in the water, but there's one that's started to grow, and then there's a whole tree right there. The wind scatters seeds. Some seeds have fluff on them that let them float to the ground like tiny parachutes. Others have wings that spin as they fall. Animals help scatter seeds too. They hide acorns and nuts in the ground. Some seeds have hooks that stick to the fur of animals or people's clothes. Later, they drop off onto the ground. So many different ways that those seeds can travel. A flower bed or vegetable garden is beautiful. Seeds are planted to grow in the gardens. The seeds come in small envelopes or boxes. Directions explain how to plant the seeds and care for the plants. Now this is one of my favorite ways to grow seeds. planting a garden. I love planting fresh vegetables, and I love to plant flowers as well. And you don't have to have a garden. You can even plant things in pots on your windowsill. That's where I'm growing basil right now. The beginning of a plant is curled up inside each seed. Food is stored inside the seed too. The seed has a seed coat on the outside to protect it. So we see an example of a bean, and there's the food, the yellow part, a tiny beginning of a plant, and then the seed coat is on the outside, that gray part. A seed will not sprout until certain things happen. First, it must be on or in the soil. Then it needs rain to soak the seed and soften its seed coat. When the sun shines and warms the ground, the seed coat breaks open and the seed begins to grow. This is called germination. A root grows down into the soil. The root takes in water and minerals from the soil for food. So here we have the start of germination. That seed coat's breaking, the root, the white part, is growing down. Up grows a shoot. Green leaves grow up from the shoot toward the sun. So the roots are still growing down, they're growing down more, and that shoot and the leaves are going up towards the sun. The plant grows bigger and bigger. The leaves make food for the plant from the water and minerals in the soil, the sunlight, and the air all around the plant. So I'll say that part again. The leaves made food for the plant from the water and minerals in the soil, the sunlight, and the air all around the plant. Finally, the plant is full grown. Buds on the plant open into flowers where new seeds will grow. So we have the flowers, but then up here, here's a bud. It's that little green part that hasn't quite bloomed yet and created a flower. Many of the foods people eat are seeds, fruits and pods, or other types of plants. They're all full of nutrition, vitamins, minerals, and they're all pretty tasty too. So maybe you recognize some things that you like to eat, maybe apples or oranges or pumpkins or even sunflower seeds, right? Lots of different types of food. Now, what I like about Gail Gibbons' books are she usually has some sort of experiment. So there's a little project here at the back that I'll give you a little peek. It says how to raise bean plants. So 1, find a clean glass jar, take a piece of black construction paper and roll it up. So that's step 1. 2, slide the paper into the jar and fill the jar with water. Number 3, you take your bean seeds and wedge them between the black paper and the glass. Put the jar in a warm place. 4, in a few days, the seeds will begin to sprout. Watch the roots grow down and the shoots will grow up. 5, after they've started to grow, you can put some dirt in a big clay pot and then carefully remove the small plants from the glass jar, placing them in the soil and covering them up to the base of their shoots. And then all you need to do is water them and watch them grow. It's pretty cool. So you might be able to try this project at home. Now, there's one other special thing about Gail Gibbons' books, and it's that she usually includes some fun facts. So I'm going to read you a few. Scientists who study plants are called botanists. Did you know that some seeds sprout only in the heat of fire? Another fun fact, some plants live for only one season, and they're called annuals. Now, other plants die at the end of a season but grow back the following year. They're called perennials. Plants in the desert, such as cactus plants, store water in their stems. They can live for a long time without rain. There are mountain plants that are so short that the wind can't blow them over. I'd say that's adapting, right? Plants move. Did you know that many flowers open in the morning and shut at night? Some close when it rains. Also, plants move toward light. Some plants eat insects. These plants live in soil that doesn't have enough minerals for food. Like, there's a little picture here, the Venus flytrap. The biggest flower in the world grows on the island of Sumatra. It can weigh up to 25 pounds and can be 4 feet across. That might be longer than some of you are tall. It's pretty cool. So this has been From Seed to Plant. I hope you've learned some great information about different types of seeds, how they travel, and how a seed goes to the plants that we know and see. Thanks for reading with me.